Guess my greatest fear. You can say it out loud. Yes, spiders, heights, and one more. Somebody say one more. Bugs. Okay, well, heights are in my top 3 for sure. My greatest fear is actually getting into college. It terrifies me. It absolutely terrifies me. And going to a top prep school like Pace doesn't quite calm these anxieties at all. At Pace, I'm surrounded by kids just as smart and usually even smarter than me. Kids at these top private schools are expected to be the next world leaders, CEOs, politicians. We're held to standards that most adults aren't even held to. First, we have to be a perfect student, then a perfect son or daughter, then a perfect citizen of the world, and in some cases even a perfect athlete, just to get into our top school. Once we get accepted into our top schools, then we are somehow set on the right track. This doesn't make any kind of sense to me, but do most of my peers still reach and even exceed this standard? Absolutely. But at what cost? Looking in on these teenagers' lives, you see a 16-year-old somehow managing to juggle 17 different things while making it look absolutely effortless. You don't see what I see. You don't overhear things in the hallways, you don't see things on Instagram, you don't look in on classrooms. These top students are overworked, they're stressed, and they're depressed. This immense pressure put on us to be perfect, to take every AP available to us, to get a perfect score on the SAT and ACT, to get all A's, has truly taken the joy out of school. But school has become a numbers game. It's all about memorization now in order to ace an assessment to keep your average at an A. It doesn't matter whether or not you actually learned anything. Knowledge isn't valued as much as the grade is anymore. The pressure surrounding grades to be perfect doesn't just affect high schoolers. It affects younger students as well. I remember it was 7th grade. I was 12, 13. It was my first semester. And I was crying in my middle school bathroom hysterically. I was crying so loud that you could hear it down the halls. I was crouched around the toilet, shaking from my top-knot bun that I always wore without fail, to my black K-Swiss uniform shoes. Now, what does a 7th grader really have to cry about? Friend drama, sure. Not getting a good seat at lunch, sure. But I was crying because I was suffering from a panic attack because I got a B on my first report card of the 7th grade year. At age 12, I was having a panic attack because I got a B on a report card. As a child, when I shouldn't have a care in the world, I was stressing about letter grades because I thought that if I didn't get all A's, then somehow I was worthless and my future would be less bright. Ever since I can remember, my parents have always told me that trying my best and giving my all in school would be enough to please them, even if it meant getting a B or a C every once in a while. But, as I usually do, I didn't listen. I equated my self-worth and my overall intelligence to the grade that I got in a class. I really should have listened to my parents. Fast forward to high school, it was freshman year. I had memorized what I needed to get the grade that I wanted and wouldn't actually learn anything. I was a robot. I'd go through the motions of learning because like everybody around me, I was playing a game. If I could get the grades that I wanted to and perform well on assessments, then I'd be set. Never in my academic career had I ever faced hardship. School came fairly easy to me. All I had to do was go through the motions, memorize material, and simply articulate what I needed to memorize on the assessments. Entering 9th grade, I had terrible anxiety that stemmed from my performance on assessments. Something as simple as a B on a quiz would trigger me into having panic attacks or breakdowns. The pressure and stress that I was putting on myself to be perfect and to do amazing in school was making me sick. I was losing color in my face, I was losing weight, I was sleeping, or if I wasn't sleeping, or if I was sleeping, I was sleeping way too much. But yet, I was still so focused on getting all A's. If I continued down this path, a panic attack wouldn't actually be the worst consequence that I would end up suffering. Freshman year, I chose to take Ancient Honor Civilizations, which at the time was taught by Miss Emily Stevens. And keep in mind, I had never gotten less than an A on an assessment in history before. So I entered her class with way too much confidence, and man, I really underestimated that course. Preparing for a test the night before and cramming would be enough for me to get the grade that I wanted. It was not until the first pop quiz of the year, which I got a 35 on, I might add, that I realized that I would have to actually start understanding and learning the material. The quiz was only 6 questions, and it was about the reading from the night before. And those were the hardest 6 questions I've ever had to answer in my life. I left that quiz concerned for how the rest of the year and the semester was going to go for me. I stayed up hours doing work, trying to memorize material, but I didn't feel myself actually learning. Memorizing makes performing in class extremely difficult because there's no way for you to actually tell if you're actually absorbing material. The knowledge that I gained was fleeting. As the year progressed, no matter how hard I studied or how many times I met with her a week, I still failed. It got so bad that I wanted to throw in the towel, I wanted to give up, I wanted to drop the class. But Ms. Stevens told me to stick it out until the next test. And for whatever reason, I did. I'm the first to admit that I dislike change, and I even use dislike as an understatement. I hate change. When I like something, I stick to it and don't change it. That's exactly why I haven't changed my conditioner since 6th grade. But I finally forced myself to try a new study strategy, like making study guides every week or cross-checking my notes with classmates, because if I failed the next test, I'd drop the class anyway, so I had really nothing to lose. 2 weeks of intense studying later, Ms. Stevens hands us back our assessments face down. And everyone knows that a face down test usually isn't the best sign, but I mustered up enough courage to just flip over the left corner of the page, and I saw a solid red 79. And my face lit up. I grew the biggest smile on my face, and never in my life would I have ever expected to be excited about a C of all things. But for once, I didn't fail. And the grade meant so much to me because I had put so much effort into it. My academic goals then shifted. I no longer desired an A, not because I didn't think I could get one, but because learning and actually understanding the material became so much more important to me. If I knew I was learning, then I knew I was giving all of my effort. The highest grade I got on an assessment that year was an 80. My experience is not one where I aced the class and pursued AP history the next year. I got a 79 in the class, and I took CP history the next 2 years of high school. Troy Robbins, a famous author and motivational speaker, once said, don't limit your challenges, challenge your limits. Each day we must strive for constant and never-ending improvement. Honors ancient civilization was way outside of my comfort zone. But I had no other choice but to push myself, even if that meant failing every once in a while. Could I have taken CP history and gotten an A? Probably. But without Ms. Stevens, I would have never seen my full academic potential. I'm stronger than I thought I was, and I ended up finding true joy in a good challenge. Teachers, parents, and fellow students, it is our responsibility to stress the importance of learning. We have to let each other know that not being perfect is okay. Test scores are always going to be important. Grades are always going to be important. But we shouldn't expect kids to make themselves sick in order to get a perfect score. High school is a time of growth, exploration, and excitement. No kid deserves to be robbed of that experience just to please the college board. There needs to be a balance between being an exceptional student and not taking school too seriously. I prioritize learning and understanding material, and ironically, my grades and scores started improving. By trying to not be a perfect student, I feel as if I've become one. It's okay to breathe and relax every once in a while in order to recharge. Trust me, your future is still going to be waiting for you after that much-needed 30-minute nap after school. Thank you.